I'd like to nominate Jane Neely as Vice President.
Is there a conflict of interest with the husband and wife?
He can't decline.
Just now he's declined.
Oh, good.
So we still need nomination for Vice President. Michael's got 2, no one else?
I think there is. I don't think a husband and wife should sit on the same board.
I don't either. Does anybody else have any sentiments about this?
I don't think they should.
Yeah, I agree too.
Well, folks, I'm sorry, but I mean, I appreciate your sentiment, and you can utilize that in the political process, but for right now, for our officers, it's not relevant, and Mr. Healy has declined, so the only person nominated now is Mr. Gilmore, and he's got 2 votes.
Treat all the non-votes as abstentions and appear that the abstentions would consent to the action by the majorities to serve to Gilmore as Vice President.
So congratulations, Mr. Gilmore, you're Vice President.
Very good.
And I believe that's the 2 offices that we have.
So Richard, do you now take over the chairperson position at this time? I know he has been passed.
No, that's not true. According to the SOP manual, which I believe was included with the paperwork, it does not state that. It says that the elections will take place, and there's nothing there that states that anybody takes over. So I'm going to go on with the meeting, and Ralph will take over at the next meeting. So
I would like to note that I don't agree with that. Can you show us where in the SOP manual it says that you can do once the hammer has been passed?
Well, you got a copy of
procedure.
You got a copy of the relevant sections. You have that right, Ms. Goins?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well now if you'll drop down and look at 5010.50, it says annual organizational meeting. The board of directors shall hold an annual organizational meeting at its regular meeting in December. At this meeting, the board will elect a president among its members to serve during the coming calendar year. I see nothing there that states that he take on. So with that, we'll move on. That brings us to old business, and the first item is the draft SOP manual.
I have the draft with the SOP manual all tagged and done, and I would like to present that to Everett and Gwen to go over all the different things I have tagged, and I'd like to direct Gwen to come back in the next meeting and give me an idea of what she thinks of the changes, or most of them are simple changes, or a lot of them are just old date wordings, changes on there that haven't been retyped up, that to please list them so we can give them to the rest of the board, since I seem to be the only one on the committee.
Ms. Goins, if you'll look at your SOP, which you have in your hand, if you'll look at, I believe it's the very first section that talks about the responsibilities and obligations of the board of directors, you'll see that it is the board of directors who institute and create policy. That is not a requirement or responsibility of the staff. So maybe you need to go back and read it again.
Excuse me, I was put on a committee to do this. All I'm saying is I'm directing at this point that I have done what I was put on the committee for. You were also supposed to be on the committee.
I am on the committee,
and you have never made any effort.
The effort is futile, and you're exhibiting the reason why, because you have not read the SOP.
Take the time to go over where it's marked, and I have underlined it, and I have gone over the whole SOP, and then you can direct us at the next meeting.
It's going,
thank you.
You're out of order, and if there's something you wish the board to go over, you need to specify that and have the board review.
I'm capable of directing, and I have directed Gwen to go over what I was on the committee and I was supposed to do. So,
irrespective of the SOP manual, Ms. Goings is gonna direct our staff to do something that is against the rules and policies.
How about if the staff just makes copies for all the board members, the corrected version, or the
That's
version
what I
that she
asked
has?
you to do.
We'll make copies for all the board members for the next meeting, so you have a chance to review it.
Thank you. That's exactly what I asked Lynn to do.
We'll move on to the review of condition and maintenance of HPUD infrastructure.
Last meeting, we had a request to look at the patching of the seeps and the water tank.
Whatever, can I just make a copy of the changes instead of copying all 150 pages or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's all I'm just trying to say.
Okay, yeah, that would be,
Prudent.
yeah, just change, okay.
Okay.
What we did is I got a list of material, it's actually about 15 pages of very tightly, of manufacturers of good stuff that's approved for putting in the tanks. The problem that I ran into is that it's inside the tank and it's applying the stuff. And the problem is either you have to empty the tank or you have to have, and some of the materials weren't certified unless a quote-unquote competent contractor puts it in and it's certified for that. And then we start talking to contractors, you start talking about tank divers with special suits and go in, and then the decontamination procedures. And when a lot of the costs started getting up around $5,000 to $10,000 to put essentially some daubers in the tank wall, I checked around some of the other districts that have vaulted tanks and asked how they realistically plug any seeps they may have. And I found out, like from Redwood Valley, because they have like dozens of tanks that are welded and they're all over different pressure zones. And they are very happy with, there's a two-part epoxy, it's aqua epox, I think it is. But anyway, it's closest thing I could come to describing it is like there's toilet repair kits that the flat valve, you put a new seat on, they give you this epoxy, and it sticks to the old seat and glues the new one down, and it cures underwater. And they use that, but they use a similar substance. It's a two-part epoxy, and you just push it into the leak, and it cures it, and it is certified. And you can do it from the outside of the tank. So I did grab some that they had that was kind of an older batch, and I put a couple patches on to see how it would hold, especially with this cold weather and frost, to see if it would pop back off, or when it lowered and raised, if it would stretch. But supposedly it doesn't. And I was going to look at it and maybe order some, a larger sample of a batch, and then go up there and power wash off the tank and basically and mark the leak, put a marker, power wash it, and then try patching it with that and do a section at a time and basically see how it works.
I know we're running into the winter time. The reason we're doing this is our tanks, our two tanks that we just replaced, put $1.5 million in our water system, are already leaking. And
Both of
them?
Well, there is some on that side. I don't know. It's around the base. I don't know how to get into that because I'm not sure if it's on the or if it's condensation off of the bottom leaking out, because it's got an oiled pad on the bottom. So I can't tell if it's just kind of moist. It's not really, it's not that one. You can actually see it peeing out of holes where the four plates come together.